I want Dominick Reyes to win this fight. I think I can speak for the majority of the UFC fan base and community at large. We want to see Reyes win. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm a Carlos Ulberg hater. There's nothing that Carlos Ulberg has done or said to make me become a hater of him. His past few performances have been quite boring. Against Blachowicz, against Volkan Oezdemir. He did knock out the tarred Alonzo Menifield, which I'll applaud. But Reyes needs to reclaim his destiny. After he was robbed all those years ago against the name that shall not be said anymore on this channel. Against the demon. Against the heretic. Against him. I will not say his name. But you remember that fight, because I was there in those dark days. That fight was like a month right before the pandemic happened. Like February of 2020, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I started getting into the UFC quite heavily around the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. So I was still kind of new. And I didn't watch all of I didn't watch all of the Demon's fights at that point. I'm not saying his name. So I didn't know the legacy of the Demon at that point in history. I just saw his big record, and it's like, oh, he's undefeated. He's been champion for a long time. And this Reyes guy comes in. I didn't know much about Reyes at that point. And I thought he clearly won the fight. 3 rounds to 2. It was obvious to me. He's like, okay, I mean, this guy's winning the fight right now. He's piecing up the Demon. He's leg kicking him. He's defending the takedowns. He looks in control, the tempo. Towards the 5th round, it looked like the Demon was coming back because the Demon has, special supernatural powers. But I thought he won that fight. And then from there on, he goes on another 3-fight losing streak. Jan Blachowicz, which, I mean, what can you say? It was just a shutout. Shutout performance from Jan Blachowicz. That's where he becomes the champion. That's where he defends against Adesanya. And then he loses it against Teixeira. Loses to Yuri Prochazka. And remember, he briefly knocked out Yuri Prochazka with an up kick. Yuri was out for like a few seconds. Like 2 or 3 seconds. But he comes back because Yuri Prochazka is also a demon in his own right. And then the Ryan Spann knockout. After the Ryan Spann knockout, I thought it was completely over. I was like, okay, yeah, Dominick Reyes is done. How do you come back from this? How do you get knocked out by a low IQ tard and Ryan Spann, one of the worst fighters at light heavyweight? I don't know. And I thought the UFC were going to cut him. But they didn't. And a year and a half later, Reyes makes his return, fights Dustin Jacoby. I didn't think much of this matchup at the time. But Reyes wins. He knocks out Dustin Jacoby. And I see his happiness, his jubilation as he's sitting on the cage. And I felt that. Because this man had to overcome so much bullshit. And now he's on a 3-fight win streak. Beating Anthony Smith, that's a freebie, I'll admit. Anthony Smith is a freebie. Anybody can beat Anthony Smith. Nikita Krylov, I was going to pick Nikita Krylov for that fight. I thought Nikita Krylov was good, but he was very inactive. And he got knocked out the same way that Jose Aldo got knocked out by McGregor in similar fashion. But now Dominick Reyes, I will say, is going to be fighting a real contender, right? Nikita Krylov, shell of his former self, very inactive. He switched his flag from Ukraine to Russia. Weird stuff happened there. Anthony Smith is not a real contender. Dustin Jacoby, okay, I'll give Dustin Jacoby because Dustin Jacoby's beat up some guys since then. Beat up Vitor Petrino, beat up that other Brazilian dude. But now Carlos Ulberg, he's only had 1 loss. And that was to Kennedy Nzechukwu. It was a brutal knockout. Other wins, Fabio Charant. Do you know who that guy is? I don't. Tafon Nchukwi. Is that how you say his name? Tafon Nchukwi. That's that short Cameroonian guy who was very tough and very strong, but he just faced some very stiff competition. He fought Azamat Murzakanov. That was a great fight, by the way. Go rewatch that fight. So that was a good win. Ihor Potieria, very horrible fighter. Dawoon Jung, horrible fighter. But Dawoon Jung, I'm pretty sure he did elbow Ketanine Ezechukwu, so that was good. Alonzo Menefield. That was the knockout that happened in like 10 seconds because Alonzo Menefield decided to charge in like a retard. And then Carlos Ulberg does have a decent left hook, catches him with the left hook. And then these last two performances were very boring. Volkan Oezdemir, Jan Blachowicz. I can't remember anything that happened in any of these fights. Do you? I watched them, but I can't remember anything. No takedowns, no knockdowns, just leg kicks. Boring ass fight for Carlos Ulberg. Those were 3-rounders. This is going to be a 5-rounder. This is the main event for UFC Perth. This is going to be a 5-round fight. Carlos Ulberg has never been in a 5-round fight, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he never has. Dominick Reyes, though. Dominick Reyes has been in 5-round fights. I'm not worried for Dominick Reyes' gas tank. For his endurance. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm worried about him getting chinned by a left hook from Carlos Ulberg. I don't really think that's going to happen, though. They're both the same size. I think Dominick Reyes has more experience, and I think now this new version of Reyes that has come back from the depths of hell is going to win this fight. Now, this isn't a final pick because I desperately want Reyes to win, and I don't pick fighters based on who I want to win. I pick them on who I think are going to win. And so there is a chance that I might still pick Ulberg when I do make my picks video. But as of now, I'm kind of leaning towards Reyes. I really want Reyes to win, to reclaim his destiny, to reclaim his belt. Because here's the thing. Ankalaev versus Pereira is going to happen. I do think, let's just say Ankalaev wins the rematch again. They want to do Yuri because Yuri is the most entertaining fighter at light heavyweight right now. If Yuri beats Khalil Roundtree, he's getting the next title shot no matter what, especially if Ankalaev is the champ. If Pereira is the champ, I don't know if they're going to do Yuri 3. That's going to be kind of tough. They would probably push Reyes for that one if Pereira wins, because Reyes would be a new opponent for Pereira. But if Ankalaev remains the champ, they're definitely going to go with Yuri, and then they might do Reyes later down the line if Reyes beats someone like Roundtree, or they might do the Blachowicz rematch. 4-fight losing streak. If he wins this one, he'll be on a 4-fight winning streak. He'll be in the top 5 at that point. He'll be on the top 5. He's 35. He's not deadly old. We've seen guys fight later on in their late 30s, early 40s. So he's still in good age. If Reyes wins this fight, the comeback will be cemented. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the comeback was cemented after Krylov's knockout. No. This will be cemented, the Reyes comeback. And when Reyes is standing over Carlos Ulberg's dead corpse in the octagon at Perth, all of us can rejoice in Dominick Reyes' reclamation. Can Reyes beat guys like Pereira and Ankalaev? I don't want to put that mental image in my head. I just want to see Reyes get what he deserves. He was robbed of the belt back in 2020 against the Dark One. But this is his preeminence. I believe in Reyes. And I already watched Lucas Tracy's video. He picked Carlos Ulberg to win. And quite frankly, it is like, I understand why you'd pick Carlos Ulberg because he hasn't lost since 2021. And since then, he's just been on a roll. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's on an 8-fight win streak. I get why you'd pick Carlos Ulberg. But he hasn't been in a 5-round fight. Jan Blachowicz, how old is he? He's like 42, right? He's 42. And he turned 42 in February, and this fight happened in March. So yeah, he was 42 then. come on. Volkan Oezdemir, he's not... I never considered Volkan Oezdemir to be elite. He's not elite competition. Alonzo Menefield, don't get me started. Dawoon Jung doesn't even fight in the UFC anymore. Ihor Potieria, same thing. Horrible fighter. This guy doesn't fight anymore. Tafan Nchukwi doesn't fight anymore. Like, he hasn't fought elite competition. I don't know if Reyes is elite himself, but back in 2020 he was. If he beat if he beat the Dark One, if he was able to beat the Demon, the Dark Demon, I consider you to be elite, irrespective of all those brutal knockouts that you suffered. I think what happened with Reyes was that because he didn't get the belt, because he was let down by the judges during that dark night, he kind of shelled himself into a deep pit, probably wasn't training as hard, and that's why he lost to Blachowicz, Yuri, Ryan Spann. He kind of gave up on himself. But then he came back. Something switched in his mind. It's like, okay, I'm going to come back because I only have one life. I'm only getting older. I'm going to beat Dustin Jacoby. I'm going to coast by Anthony Smith. That was a freebie. Reyes. But fine, you beat Anthony Smith. And then you knock out Nikita Krylov. And in the Krylov fight, that was vintage Reyes. Reyes looked fast. He looked snappy. He looked alive. That was the type of Reyes for that one round that we saw against the Demon. I'm not making my pick in this video, but I think you all can already understand who I am going to pick for this fight. I might change my mind if something comes up, like if I hear that Reyes has like an injury before the fight or something, or, you know, I have to see the face-offs to see if something's wrong there. But I am leaning towards Reyes, and I hope to God you win. Dominick Reyes, if you are watching this video, I am a big fan of you. I wish you the best. I wish you good fortune and good luck. And Carlos Ulberg, I'm not a hater, but I just don't want to see you as champ, Carlos. Like, I just don't care of you as a fighter. Thank you for knocking out Menefield, but other than that, I just don't care. You put me to sleep against Oezdemir and against Blachowicz. So, Reyes, save the light heavyweight division. Save this division, Reyes. The Devastator is going to come back, and he is going to devastate light heavyweight. That's all I got for you in this video. Peace out. Subscribe to my channel, you motherfuckers. Subscribe right now. We blew past 200 subscribers. Thank you all for that. Keep giving me more. Peace out.